Team news.
Team news. Brad Lyons is probably going to miss the game. Brad got injured in the warm-up last week. We've had a scan and it's just showed a little kind of minor issue going on with the inside his groin. We're hoping that can be resolved, if not for the weekend, certainly for next Saturday. Joe Wright will miss this one again. I didn't get asked about Joe Wright last week after the game, but Joe's picked up an injury in training last week. Well, we thought that he was going to make the game. He's also got a little hip issue, and again I think he should be fine for the last 2 or 3 games of the season. Kel McInnes is back full running and looking to join in training next week, which would be slightly ahead of schedule, so that's a real bonus for us. And young Tom Brown from Leicester still unavailable, so I think that's Rory McKenzie back involved. Sorry, Rory missed last week, and Rory's in terms of his training, and he obviously just come off the bench, but he's had a full week's training and is in the squad as well.
How big did the weekend there feel, just in terms of what's going on?
I think we've spoke about this in terms of when you go into the post-split fixtures, regardless top 6, bottom 6, I think that the magnitude of the game becomes even bigger. If you don't get a win, I think if you get a win, then you can go and attack the next one with a bit more confidence. And you know, obviously we've had the last 2 home games, we've played against teams who are in the bottom 6, Motherwell and Ross County, and we've had 2 comfortable wins. They've put similar performances in terms of being very kind of resolute, very kind of tidy with work. I thought we were a better team in both games, clean sheets. We ran into Celtic Park in between both, which was a tough one for us, and you've got to overcome that and get ready to go again. But the response was what I would hope for and what I expect for the team. That I thought we had some good individual performances, but I thought it was a good win for us nonetheless. And now we go into St Johnstone away, and it presents another opportunity. You're up against an opponent who, if I was a St Johnstone manager at the minute, I'd still feel we had a real chance. And I feel that when you hear Simo speak, I think he's full of belief and full of encouragement for his players to believe that they can get a result, and they'll be thinking that if they can go and win the next couple of games, then they're right back in it. So, you know, I said last week from 7th to 12th, every day had work to do, and nobody could breathe easy. I think Motherwell are now the only team in the bottom 6 who can breathe a bit easier after their win last weekend, and there's still work for us all to do, and we're well aware of that. They were well aware of St Johnstone possibly in last chance saloon in terms of winning games, but we're well aware of their threats. St Johnstone can beat us on any given day, and they've shown that this season, and they can beat other teams, but we've got to make sure that we can get something close to what we're capable of, and if we do that, I believe it's a game that we can win as well, and it'd be such an important win for us, because I do believe another win to follow up from last week would put us in a really strong position in terms of meeting the objectives now.
When it comes to that sort of last chance saloon for them, would you expect them to be throwing everything at it on Saturday?
I think they're the type of team who put bodies forward anyway. I think you've got to praise Simo for that. I think he's got a really big squad to choose from, and sometimes you're never really sure who's playing, but obviously they've got a couple of defensive injuries, but they've got good players at St Johnstone, you know what I mean? And I think that a lot of his best players are probably attacking players, so with that in mind, I think you normally see an attacking approach from St Johnstone, so I firmly believe that will be the case, to be honest. I think they'll come right after us. They'll see this as a real chance for them, being at home in particular, and we've got to be ready to fight fire with fire, you know what I mean, as we all do.
How different is it to prepare for this sort of game when you're going up against a team who are facing relegation?
No, I think we're all, as I said, to be honest, I think we've all got work to do. I think we've all got our own issues at the minute, we've all got concerns, and nobody can really breathe easy. So for us, I think when you play teams in and around you, as all the rest of the teams are now in the bottom 6 except Motherwell, that it's like trying to cut each other's throat really. And 3 points is great for your own, but you're also damaging your opponent, and ultimately that's where we're at. It almost feels like every game is vitally important, and we're not putting home games over away games. We feel this is something that we've got to show that we're good enough, we can get something from the game, and to do that we're going to have to play well, no doubt about it. You know, I watched their game last week against Motherwell, and for long spells in the game they were really good in the game. And this is a St Johnstone team that, you know, a couple of games ago at home they beat Celtic, so they're capable of big moments in games. I think they're capable of periods of games where they're really difficult to contain. But we've got to make sure that we can cause them problems, because obviously they're in a position where they'll probably feel that they lose too many goals, but they certainly don't have a lack for options, and they don't lack an attacking threat. They've got real attacking threats, and it's something that we've got to be mindful of.
And is 7th still the target that you would want to finish the season on?
Yeah, I'd like to. I think we're going to have to show some really good form to do that, and just take each game as it comes. Obviously we get 3 home games and we're particularly strong at home, but I think for us to finish 7th and 8th in the league, we're going to have to pick up points on the road, and hopefully Saturday's a case of that.
But a Kelly win, Derek, would mean you can't automatically be relegated. That would be a big step towards safety, would it not?
Well, yeah, I wasn't thinking that, Ronnie, to be honest, but you know, I just think a Kelly win relieves a bit of anxiety about everybody at the club, and we can just look forward to the last few games, you know. And I think that for any team who don't win their upcoming fixture, the pressure maybe build for the next one. So we're just trying to alleviate a bit more pressure. We don't really feel it at the minute, but we're well aware that every game is really important, and I think the players deserve a lot of credit for how they dealt with the last couple of home games against teams who they were seen as must-win games, Motherwell and Ross County. And I thought that the players dealt with the game, and their temperament in the game was brilliant, and their performance was good enough to get the job done.
Great result for the young players during the week as well. Does that just keep the good feeling around the club going?
Yeah, really pleased. I think it illustrates good work being done by everybody in the academy, but particularly Chris and Chris Burke and Gary Irvine with the 18s team have done brilliant. You know, but I think it's good work done by everybody in the academy. Andy Black, scouting, and Paul Di Giacomo. And it's great. It's a shot in the arm for any academy when you lift silverware. It's normally bigger clubs than us that win silverware in the Scottish Youth Cup. So we've got some good talented players within that. Ben Brannan, we're captain of that team. He's been out on loan at Inverness. You know, he's signed a new deal, and he'll be a big part of the first team squad, and we're hoping a few more of those can be part of that as well. And it was good to see so many Kelly fans at the game last night, although sometimes it gets lost in that venue at Hampden. But a great support, and also 2/3 of my first team squad turning up, the senior players showing their support as well. So all in all, it was a good evening for everybody at Kilmarnock, and delighted for Chris and the boys to get the job done.